So let's see here. For whatever reason, I've been having like an upset stomach and some diarrhea. So hopefully I will be able
Hi, it's glad
to.
to hear
I mean,
about
I don't.
me. Thank you. Thank you for that image.
You're welcome. I'm just trying to be a shitty friend.
I can see that.
Um, it's like 95% sure that Jemima probably won't hop in on the call, but I just used the link just in case.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But um, I'm not expecting her to come just because. Yep, she says, did not know you were expecting me today. So yeah, obviously she's not going to be.
Okay, we'll see what happens. On an unrelated note, did you know that when you cook pasta really, really, really slowly, it ends up tasting both overcooked and undercooked at the same time? Very weird.
No, that's just that sounds disgusting.
It is. Unfortunately, that's the only food I have right now.
Wow.
It kind of reminded me of when I was young. It's like we cooked pasta and we forgot that we need to boil the water first. We put it in cold water and it just ended up tasting like super weird.
Hmm.
That's what it reminds me of. It's really like pasty and sticky. It's like weird texture, weird taste.
Hmm.
Really not good.
Wow.
Anyway, so what do you want to do? You want to wait to see if she shows up, or do you want to float or do some work or drop a cucumber out of your sandwich?
uh, that actually sounds like a lot of fun. I'll have to go make a sandwich real quick and then put some cucumbers in it so I can drop it.
Didn't you say you had an
Uh,
upset stomach?
yeah, I was in the bathroom before I came. It just feels like I don't know. The sort of like weird, like sour, like gut feeling of just I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't think I ate anything strange or abnormal that I can remember in the last day or two. Weird. Well, um, what I had wanted to do once I found out, what's her face isn't going to come, is see if I can just set up the six points that I outlined in the sexy story, and then basically bullet out the points of each webinar story because I wrote down I think I had seen a picture from the other day. I wrote down all the yeah like the flip flop of like the story beats on so like the different story elements is like the the first secret um, is the feeling of it is feeling invisible. It's like people want to feel seen. They want to get in front of a lot of people, build an audience. So that's the story of talking to a million people, and it didn't make any sales. I've been at that place where you feel invisible, and then I did if you fast forward 10 years later, I learned that when you share things the right way, you have to share values, what your audience values, in order for them to pay attention, and then you feel seen and heard because you're talking to them about what they want to hear and what they feel seen and heard about. So then, um, so then it's like, so how do you um, how do you find the how do you create that kind of feeling? And that's when I'll share about not having community. That was when I kind of felt lost, felt alone. And so then the flip flop is, I learned how to connect over values, with people. That's how I was able to make friends and start to uh, begin the process of forming community, which creates the feeling of belonging, which is what you want the culture of your community to feel like, is a place where people belong. So then the story about doing everything on the sitcom is the feeling of being overwhelmed, versus the story where I watched Roy do very little and he grew his community. It's the feeling of being successful and feeling feeling free, without being tied to your business or your community. So I can see like the shifts and the swings there. But what I wanted to do is like break each of those stories down. So it's like we have the one major thing and we're moving towards this thing, but it's like in the process of telling that story, you want the same kind of like flip flop of um, the story beats. So it's like, so this is what you need to know about the story. And then I tried this thing, but then here's this obstacle. So it made me feel like this. So I tried something else, and then I learned this. Or somebody came in and I watched what they did, and then this is what I understood. And so then I tried it again, and then it went successfully, and then I felt like this, but then it created a new problem, that sort of thing. So that was sort of what I wanted to do, is like just map out more of the individual beats in the story so that it's a little bit more predictable, to create the conflict and the interest, so that at least I'm hitting roughly the same basic notes every time we do the webinar, because it feels like I'm just sort of talking on my butt. And if we want this to be consistent or measurable, like we need to start, it's like it needs to be the same every time so we can start having a sense of what is it that people are actually responding to or connecting with. That was the big thought. So, oh man. Okay, so step one is the value. So this is like, what is it that they want that needs to, so feel seen. I also noticed something when I was watching back the webinar. I did this on the practice run as well as like when we did it last week. We recorded like the 2 hour version of it. But I keep trying to. Well, I mention like a pepper throughout the stories, like, oh, like this thing is like what we do in our program, and I feel like, um, just like for me and for like presentations that I've seen, it feels like I need to be like razor sharp focused on, this is just the story. All they care about right now is like, tell me the story and let me get into the flow and the emotion of what is this thing. And then it's like, once you've told the story, you've kind of planted the seeds, like you've been able to create some idea receptors and places, so that when we go to breaking the program down, it's like, so we're going to do this. You remember how we talked about this part of the story? It's like, this is what this does. So it's like, if you want to be seen and heard and not feel invisible, we have the sexy story framework, which is part of what you do in the 5-minute Facebook groups. Are the steps that you do the first week or week and a half help you create a sexy story and put that into your business so that you blah blah blah. So it's like if I noticed all right, it's like I'm trying to do too many things at once instead of just really focus. So that's another reason why I wanted to write the stories down. It's just like either have it in or literally have it on the slide, like point by point. It's like, but then this happened, and then I tried this. But here was the catch, and that's it's like just tell the story. Don't try to add any running commentary or like make any jokes that aren't planned because it just expands the thing, just makes it so freaking long.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing. I didn't know if it was a good or a bad thing, so I didn't say
Hmm.
anything.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I had a feeling that it was like maybe this is something we'll adjust, but like going back and watching, I'm like, yeah, this is like it feels like listening to somebody who rambles. It's like I have a couple of friends who are ADD, and they just like they go like four different directions. It's like, okay, get to the point. I feel like that's how I talk normally, and
yeah,
and people who sell or people who are in the public eye, they're able to just do one thing at a time so that you can follow them. And I think that's one thing that I need to start practicing is know what I'm going to say and then just stick to the parts that I'm preparing to say instead of trying to riff. Um, I mean, if you're in like a one-on-one conversation where you're talking to a regular person, then it maybe is a little bit different and you could be more free flowing. But for a presentation, it's like the time and attention is at a premium. So we want to like really be focused and deliberate about what we present. So that was just kind of my own feedback for myself of like be a little more concise and if I'm mapping out like doing like a story structure of like very intentional, then it uh feels like it would be a little bit more effective. Let's see.
so do you need anything from me?
Not right at the moment. So let's see here. Value, feeling seen. Let's see. I've felt invisible. So let's see. Where's my so that's the story is um
It'd be funny, like 50 people suddenly show up.
Well, they're gonna get a master class on how to construct a webinar then. You're like, so glad you guys have joined us. Let me tell you why you're not watching our presentation, because it's terrible.
See, we think it is because we've been working on it for so long. We're like, oh, we can tweak this, fix
Mhm,
that, but it's like it's really
mhm.
not as bad as we think it is.
Yeah, probably not. And to be honest, like I think this is one of those things where it's like the nitpicking is probably like 60, 70% or more. It's really just us satisfying the like storytelling aesthetics of stuff that we've learned. It's like, oh well, I like my stories to come prepackaged like this, but it's like we're good enough storytellers that like the basics of what needs to be there for most people are there, whether we spend any energy on it or not. For me, this is just like for this particular webinar, it's probably not nearly as important for me to do this, but I think I do this kind of stuff because I'm a storyteller, because like I'm so obsessed with making the information as clear and as easy and as entertaining as possible. And so it's like may not really matter that much for this thing. But in the bigger scheme of things, like because I'm a storyteller, like this is the kind of stuff I do anyway, and it's why my stories keep getting better and better and better. So it's like this is impacting like everything I do from this point on, including this webinar. So it's sort of like I don't know. It's like this is more this is more of just like doing this because this is what I do. Not so much that, oh, I probably should do this or I need to do this. It's just like, no, I'm just gonna have to do this.
Yeah, it's kind of the same with me. And it's like, oh, I need to make the funnel perfect and everything needs to look like great and
Hmm.
amazing. And
Hmm.
it's like it doesn't change anything.
Hmm.
Like we've done most of the work at this point. I think all we need to do is just get people. Oh, that was loud.
Hmm. Yeah.
The windows literally shook on that one. Nice.
Whoa.
Um, so I was saying, yeah, I think at this point, and there's the car alarm. Um, at this point, all we need to do is just reach out to as many people as we can, get as
Hmm.
many people as we can to attend the webinar. Like that's
Yeah.
all that really matters now.
Hmm. Also, ooh, I wonder, is there anybody that's like us in terms of like the way that we were saying, like we're just really good storytellers. We like telling stories, and I think part of the reason you and I are both really into marketing is we see that like it's another variation or aspect on storytelling. It's like you're telling different kinds of information for totally different reason. It has less to do with entertainment and emotional swings as much as like, oh, I'm trying to get you to understand and buy into an arbitrary perspective. And so it's like on one hand, with a story, it's like you don't need to believe anything. You just need to like set your own, you know, personality or expectations aside. Just like I'm just gonna go on the story. Let's see what happens with this adventure, and like that's about as much participation as you need. When it comes to marketing, it's like a slightly harder level of storytelling. It's like you have to at some point get the audience to participate to the degree that they're like, I will um I'll you're setting the bar of I guess when you say suspension of disbelief, you another way of saying that is like just getting people to believe something. And so it's like when you start tampering with actual beliefs that somebody may hold, um, like that's a more difficult prospect than just I'm not trying to get you to believe this, just listen to the story. And and then you can decide if you like it or not. Like that's one level. And then what we're doing now is sort of um I'm sorry, I'm super distracted. um
That's okay. I'm
you
also distracted because you're like, who else does this? And I was thinking of who's the story guy that I read his book, and that's like he inspired me to do the 20-year like motivational speaking plan. And I'm like, I completely blanked on his name. So I was just as you were speaking, I was listening, but I was also trying to find him on Google. And like, I can't find him. I forgot his name.
I'm just really like this is so freaking weird to me because you are in what looks like my old house. Like at one point, I had green curtains that looked just like that shade of green on a like a brass. Yep, yep, like um, and even like kind of like cut funny way. My wife cut shortened some curtains that
So,
used to be our living room
did you have a
curtains.
dog painting?
Oh, we didn't have a dog painting, no.
Did you
But
have
like
the shining lights?
I literally, yes, I did have, I hung like a Chinese lamp in the corner
Really?
off of a hook from the ceiling because we didn't have a light or we didn't have a lamp in our room. And so like the green curtains and like the white bookshelf, we had like a white IKEA thing in our bedroom. It's just like, this is very bizarre. Like from this angle, that room, like just looking at it quick, kind of looks like you're in my old bedroom in the apartment I used to live in. It's just very weird.
Huh, that's funny.
That is funny. Um, yeah. So what I was saying is like, so we're storytellers. Is there somebody who's like an audience builder, who like somebody who is I all I do is get traffic. That's what I know how to do. And the same way that we're like, nobody really would care like the stuff that I do. Um, for fun or like out my butt is like way better than the average person would do. And like I'm just kind of chipping away at different stuff, making things better because like it's just what I like to do. Like I wonder if there's people that are like that.
Hmm. I just realized because we're talking about story, and this is making our story more interesting. We created our webinar, created the product, got everything set up in 2 months,
Hmm.
launched it, and first webinar, one person signed up, no one showed up. Second webinar, one person signed up, no one showed up. It's just making the story more interesting.
That's true. That that is true. So
Question is, how
I'm
interesting do we want it to get? 6 months interesting?
yeah, exactly. Well, oh yeah, what I was thinking is like I should set a KPI of like how many people should I try to invite and get a definite
I
yes
can't hear anything that you're saying. The volume is really low and the rain is getting louder.
from. No worries. Maybe I should just write. All right, let's see here. Um,
Oh, large. Um, I I'm thinking of creating or purchasing well, not purchasing, but anyway, getting these solo ads to promote the webinar. The only thing is, if we do that, we might get more signups and we shouldn't limit it to 12. So can you unlock the amount of people who can attend next week?
Absolutely.
And maybe like the week after, just to be sure if some people are like, oh, I can't this week, but I want next week.
Yeah, I think if I change it, it'll be like for every week on the calendar until we change it again. Let me double check. Edit. It should just be like a global setting for that calendar swap. Invite questions. What event is this? Maximum invitees. Oh. So if we put 88. I guess, oh, this event is a multiple person event. Should I just put like 50 people?
Sorry?
I guess the event type that I created is one that is for a group of people. So it requires you to put like a maximum number of invitees. Should I put like 24, put like 200,
Well,
or
the thing is, if I do both, because I have $96 like available in the account from the two that were canceled. So let's say I do two, that's going to be about 200 clicks. So it depends on how many actual signups we get from the 200 clicks. So it's like the absolute max we can get is 200 if every single person signs up. The odds of that are very, very slim.
So let's see.
But I mean, if we want to just like, do people see the amount of spots available?
I could, let me see.
Because if they didn't see it, then we're like, we'll just put like 200 and like, who cares? It doesn't matter.
Display remaining spots on booking.
Or we can do like 100.
It's
like, okay, there's 100 spots available.
Click on it and see how many, see if it actually, whoops. Live page. Facebook webinar. Next week. Select the slot, 2 p.m. Okay, so I can set it up so you don't see the number of spots remaining.
Okay. In that case, we can just be safe and say like 200 just to be safe. That way, like, there's no issues.
Yeah.
I doubt it'll be a problem, but you know, why risk it? The question is, who do I buy this from? Because I don't have all the stats anymore from the old business. Because I'm like, all right, moving on. I don't need it anymore. But now I'm like, I don't know which one to buy from. Because I don't remember which ones were like the best quality.
So what is a solo ad? It's like an ad swap
It's
with
on
people who
a
have audiences?
platform called Udemy, which is just a platform where people can buy solo ads from people who have mailing lists, and it's just like, we have people in this, and this niche, and it costs this
Mm,
much, and this is what you get, and
I
whatever.
gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting.
I just really don't remember which ones were the good ones.
All right. Well, I think I fixed what you needed, and so now I'm gonna go back to do. Ah,
Everything okay?
yeah. Oh, this is gonna make it so much better. Gonna shrink the time and I'm gonna get more information into it. This is so good. Um, mhm. All right. Okay, so the beats of the story, I think this is this is the first story is we all want to get more clients in our business. We want to grow our business. We we want the freedom that comes from being to be able your own be able to be your own boss. But in order to get clients, we need to have our message out there. We need to feel seen and heard. Or at least that's what people tell us. I hear a lot of people say that you need to be in front of an audience. You need to have, you borrow an audience, or you get on TV. You get your message to millions of people. Um, but what I've learned is that you don't need it. You actually don't need tons of traffic. Traffic is not the answer. Being in front of millions of people is not going to grow your business. I've had access to millions of people. I've been seen by millions. I've been heard by tons of people. I've shared my story um, on network television, on broadcast radio, on an international networks, on uh, satellite, online. Um, I've been in front of the camera sharing my story, and I felt invisible because I've been in situations where I say what I've seen, what I know, what I feel, what I've thought, and I didn't get any clients out of it. I didn't get any jobs out of it. I didn't feel like it made my life any better. I might have shared something that was entertaining for somebody else, but there was no exchange other than somebody paying attention. And when you when you are in front of that many people and you feel uh, embarrassed, or you feel invisible because your story doesn't create any outcomes, because your story doesn't land, you just feel invisible. You feel like a failure. You don't have to feel that way. Um, but I just coming from having been in the position of being in front of lots and lots of people many times, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to make a lot of money. What I learned from being in front of people and sharing my story and not creating any outcomes from it, what I realized is, like, I needed to learn to tell better stories. I needed to learn how to sell my idea. And so I thought if I learned how to tell a better story, I would actually be able to create a better outcome. I might get more influence from it. I might get more connections, grow my network, um, make sales from it. So I spent 10 years learning from top storytellers in the world. I studied people like David Copperfield, who for a long time was the #1 live entertainer in the world. He's one of the best storytellers ever. My mentor worked in Hollywood on films like The Matrix, shows like ER, Friends, uh, tons of tons of world-class storytellers, uh, editors, directors that um, he learned from, worked directly with, and that was the guy that taught me how to interview people, how to listen, how to ask great questions, how to find what makes a good story and edit that together in a way that people pay attention to, that moves people, that shifts their emotions. And so I became a really expert storyteller. And even being on the radio, even being in positions where on television where I've been asked to come back, or I've been asked, hey, can you come be on my program again? Um, I've been in the position where people love the stories, but because it wasn't my audience, I didn't control the story. There's always going to be somebody who owns the audience, and as long as they own it, they're shaping what people are seeing. The story that I told on network television, um, they used like a 3-second clip of me from like a 5-minute interview. They told their own story, and I was just a side character in it. I didn't really actually get much of my message out there. And if you don't own your audience, you don't control your story. If you can't get your full message out there, you're not going to feel seen. You're not going to feel heard. And if people don't see you, they're not going to become your client. Now, that's the first half of the first part of the story, but it feels like that's a lot tighter. And it feels more structured. So I feel like this is a really good exercise to do with all the. It's like I start with a clear beginning. I walk them through the bare minimum of details, and I can kind of contract and expand based on what people want to know. But like I have a direction where I'm going. It's like the point is, um, like you don't control the story if it's not your audience. But what I'm setting up is if you go out and find a few people who are listening to you, where you have their full attention, like when I did the launch for university, we got in front of 700 people organically. The people that bought were already in their audience. They had already hand raised, said, "I'm kind of interested in checking out the school." They were already semi-warm leads, and so if it's your audience, your odds are much, much greater. And you need like a fraction of the amount of attention that people claim that you need. That's the thing with when you borrow somebody else's audience or you use somebody else's system, you just have to do sheer numbers in order to make sales and make money. You can move the needle by just getting in front of a few people. And as I'm saying this, I'm like, oh, dang, I need to like actually reach out to more people that we know and just get people in front of the webinar.
Okay, well, in the interest, oh crap, I'm surprised the notification didn't pop up on my phone. That's weird. I have to check because I need to renew the webinar timer. I don't know why it didn't pop up, so I need to fix that. Just so I know, I'm about to submit the order, so everything's good. The spots have been opened up
Mm-hmm.
because I'm going to order 200 clicks. So it's like if every single person opts in, which would be very, very, very unlikely,
Mm-hmm.
but just to be safe, if every single one of them wanted to, they could.
Mm-hmm. So how does that work? Like
So
what are
what
they
I'm paying for
seeing
is
to
like
go?
he's guaranteeing me 200 unique clicks to the link.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get however many signups we get as a result of that, depending on the quality of the page and the quality of the offer and so on and so forth. And the quality of the traffic. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can never really know how good the seller is, but I'm like, I have the money, might as well test it out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just want to make sure we have 200 spots available for the next webinar.
Yes, the 200 spots are open. Do you feel like the question on our page is congruent with the, so I guess what I'm trying to say is like, is the answer to the question we're asking our business? It's like if somebody shows up saying like, yes, I want to learn how to get millions of people, and then you tell them, well, you don't really need millions of people. It's like technically, with our system, you could get millions of people if that's really what you wanted, but you don't actually need that. It's like, is that is that like a powerful belief shift, or is it like a match of messaging? I guess is what I'm
I
asking.
think the only way to answer that is to drive traffic to it and see how people react.
That's sure. Why not? That's true.
Because at this point, all we're doing is guessing, and one guess is just as good as the next guess, and we don't really know until
Yeah.
people are actually there. And the thing is, like, I don't know how good or bad the quality of the traffic is going to be. So it's more
Uh-huh.
like, I have the credits. Why not use them? We have nothing
Sure.
to lose.
That's true.
So,
All
all
right.
right, let me
So
just update the timer on the page, and then I'll submit the order, and we'll see what happens.
okay. 1, 2.
It's pretty good because, I mean, okay, the stats on there aren't 100% accurate because turns out that if you give a bad review, they can cancel the order after they delivered it, and that deletes the review. So it can be biased because of that. So you can never 100% know the quality of the traffic. But of the reviews that are there, it says 64% of people who ordered got sales, reported sales. So that seems like a pretty good thing.
Nice. Well, this will be interesting. Just running this running the squeeze page to cold traffic, putting the offer in front of people who don't know us. Like that'll be some hard ass feedback of like, yeah, if people don't buy, we're doing something wrong.
Well, I mean, it depends on the quality of the traffic also.
That's
So it's
true.
not
Yeah,
because we
if they're
don't make
not,
a sale that it means it's bad.
yeah.
But it's definitely a good
So
test.
then, hmm So what is the, let's see, what's the secret number one? Don't need to be in front of.
A $96 test. But on the plus side, it's my money because I already bought it. So it's $96 for me. It's zero for you.
Where's our
All right, timer
webinar?
has been reset. Let me double check on my phone just to make sure. Because yeah, for the last week, I've just been like, there's nothing that I can do. Let's do something.
hmm
5 minutes for groups. All right, timer has been reset there. Perfect. So close that, and all right, finish the order. Wait, what? That's weird. All right, so the order has been submitted. It's just a question of whether he accepts it or not. That'd be really cool if we got her for sale,
Yeah.
especially considering the fact that if we get a sale, it cost us $93 because it was 93, so there's $3 left over. So $93 to make $1,000. So that would be pretty good.
That would be interesting, yeah. I mean, if we convert at 1%, that's like 5 signups. 1 out of 5 is like a 20% conversion rate, which is like on the good side of conversion.
I think for an offer like this, it's like a free sign up.
Uh-huh.
We can expect maybe 20%, I'd say.
You think 20%?
I think
So
it would make sense.
so if we had 20, let's see, 10% would be 20, 40 people maybe 40 signups. And if like half of them show up or 60% of them show up, that's like,
That's the thing. Like I did a bunch of lists
Mhm.
with the other business in the past with also a free offer kind of like this.
Mhm.
And it varied a lot. I think it varied between like 15 at the absolute lowest to
Mhm.
like 60 at the highest, something like that.
Mhm.
So it really depends on the quality of the
Yeah.
list and the match
Mhm.
like of the offer and everything. So
Yeah.
but I wouldn't expect like 5%. Like that would be I would be very surprised if that was it.
Hmm, interesting. Well, this will be very fascinating to test. I mean to try is like looking at the numbers. You spent $96, so however many
Well,
people we get signed
93
up,
technically.
93. Um, it's like we can start measuring like what it costs to acquire customers. I mean, assuming that um, we can convert people once they get into the webinar. But I have a
Yeah.
hunch that it's a decent sell. Like it's a pretty solid, you know,
Yeah, it's just a question of seeing whether it's going to be a good fit for that audience.
yeah.
So the offer is good, but if they're like, yeah, I have no interest
Hmm.
in this, it doesn't matter how good the offer is.
Hmm. So the bonuses, the mystery bonuses, I feel like based on the people that have been helping and the feedback that I've been getting from people that I haven't helped yet, but or haven't asked, but like the stuff that they say. In fact, I know this for a fact because we have a spreadsheet in CrowdScale where people ask this. They actually say, "This is what I need help with in my business." People say they need help marketing. They want somebody else to do their marketing. So, what do you think about one of the bonuses is um, I'll create like so the contest is like I'll launch your group for you.
Are
Uh
you talking about the
one
mystery bonuses or the fast
Yes,
action bonuses?
the mystery bonuses.
Okay.
So it's like maybe one of the mystery bonuses will be like um two giveaways um or I don't know. Uh but basically offering to do done for you marketing, like I'll create your marketing like business in a box, lead magnet and program outline. um, Basically what I've done for Randy and for Leslie, and I charged Randy like $1,000 to work with him, and I've been getting on calls with him, which that in itself is valuable, but in terms of like actual work that I've done for him, this is the first thing that I've actually done besides just listen to him talk. And it's taken like this uh this process to kind of like get a bead on what do we need to ask people and that sort of thing to know how. Anyway, I was gonna say I want to do a workshop or a training on how to build out your offer, like how to actually say what you do in the way that your audience needs to hear it. And so like I'm thinking about doing a mini course on this that could be like a lead magnet. But if I charge for the workshop, even if I only charge for it one time, and then I'm like, hey, this is this $99 resource that I can give to you for free or for discounted or whatever, um, then like that could be a bonus. Is like shape your offer, get your offer done in like an hour or whatever, and then
I feel like at this point, we don't need to, you know, come up with a plan or be like, hey, what do you think of
mhm,
this? It's like we come up with an idea, we test it, and just see
mhm,
what happens. I think
yeah,
like any step beyond that is just kind of a distraction and a waste of time. So it's like, I think
uh-huh,
at this stage, it's like idea, test, see what happens.
yeah.
So it's like my test was a $93 test.
All right, let's see. put the rest of, okay, so you don't control your story, then let's see, what is the point of this next part, the next half?
We just get on a call like tomorrow or whatever. Next time it's like, yeah, I just did a $10,000 test. Let's hope it works. Uh, That's the thing. I feel like at this point we just need to test it out to figure out, what's the audience and
Uh-huh.
where the offer converts. And after that, we could probably, go to an agency and be like, hey, this is our offer, this is the audience,
Hmm.
and just, get us traffic.
Right.
You want to see an old TV?
Sure.
Tony.
That's old school. Man.
See, I feel like today, just placing this one order is the most productive I've been in the last week,
You don't
which is pretty
control your
accurate.
story. So
Wow, I just realized I'm really glad that I left early this morning to come to the new apartment because it seems like it's going to be raining all day and I don't
mhm.
have an umbrella and I have to walk like 200 meters to grab a taxi and wait for the taxi to show up. So yeah, this really would have sucked.
Feel like I need a nap. Let's see. So what are the things I need to know?
You seem to be
Okay.
working very hard and I'm doing absolutely
Yeah.
nothing. Do you need help?
Um, sure, I can just talk out what I'm doing. Uh, so the first thing I want to do is share. Okay, so I'm doing the part of the story where I'm saying sharing like, okay, fast forward 10 years. So I learned how to be how to be more uh, compelling and
How to be more
provide
what?
more value. Like how to provide more value in the type of stories that I'm telling. And so helping clients make sales from those stories. Um, let's see here. So I'm trying to figure out, so what's the value of, okay, so 20 plus, oops, 20,
Ah,
22 actually.
dude, I just realized
22,
something. I mean, at
okay.
least I have been kind of seeing the fact that no one's showing up as a bad thing, but what if we switch the perspective and this is probably our last time we get to give a webinar and just chill and not actually have to give the webinar. So we should be enjoying this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is the kind of stuff that I like to do anyway, like breaking ideas down. Like the webinar itself, presenting the same thing over and over again, like that's gonna that's gonna be a little bit boring. I mean, unless you get an engaged group. I mean, I don't know, whatever. Let's see.
I don't know. I feel like unless we give it 1,000 times,
Mhm.
I don't think we'll get that kind of like bored of it.
Ah, okay, so this is reversed actually. So, okay, so this would be,
Well, I guess I'll do some work in the meantime, since I seem to be pointless here.
oops. Uh, so you're going to be working and I'm going to be looking at porn. For once, I'm not making a joke because I need to update the erotica stories. I still haven't done that. I started this morning, so I'm like, well, let's keep going. So I'm literally going to be looking at porn while you're working. That's hilarious. That's
Uh,
amazing.
oh man. I can't really see the screen, so if ever you need something from me, just let me know.
Okay. Oh. Oh yeah. Okay. So this should actually be.
This is definitely going to be one of the boring episodes. Good thing we're not doing this for people to watch, because yeah, this wouldn't would suck.
Okay. Oh, snap. That's jeez move. Okay. Ah. I just feel like
You feel like what?
I feel like I'm.
Yeah, I can't really understand what you were saying. The volume is very low.
Go to bed.
Are things all good on your end? Just not. Uh, that was fun.
Hello?
You seem very confused.
Hello?
Everything okay?
There we go. I can hear you now.
So how's everything on your end?
A lot slower than I figured,
Is
but
it
I'm
easier if
glad.
you talk it out?
Like, what's that?
Is it easier if you talk it out?
I don't know, maybe. Um, I'm realizing like how little of in the way of story, like the oh, and I like did this $200,000 plus launch. It's like there wasn't really much constructed there, so it's like so I decided like I needed to spend, well, I spent 10 years learning, so fast forward and I learned how to sell. Like I did a lot of freelance work as a videographer, helping people tell great stories and putting it in front of audiences, sometimes of millions of people. I've made tens of thousands of dollars doing that skill set of learning how to tell great stories and sell stuff to clients. And so I had a client that we decided to put together a 30-minute Facebook Live to enroll some high ticket clients for them. And we went on Facebook. It's got 1 billion people on their platform. It's like this is a gigantic audience potentially. Well, it turns out only about 700 people watched our stream. You've got 1 billion potential, and you're getting like not even a tenth of a hundredth of a percent of that. It's like 700 people, but 700 people clicking on a stream, that's not too terrible, but only about 22 people watched. It was a lot less people than we were thinking we're going to engage. But out of those 22 people who watched, 22 of them became high ticket clients for a program that started at $16,000 per person. We doubled the amount of their high ticket clients from the previous year. And since that launch, I started my own business with a partner. Regularly wake up to sales in that business where I'm not actively marketing. We just told a great story, let the community run with it, and we've gotten a lot of sales from that business through word of mouth. We haven't really done a lot of active campaigns in it. And the thing that I learned from both of those launches, the interesting thing is those 22 people who watched the stream, out of the 700 people who clicked out of curiosity, the 22 people that watched were already in their audience. Like they were already in their warm market, which means they had some established relationship with those people. They were already part of their community. And what I learned is that you make more sales from your own community because you have more influence with those people. And since I learned that your community is where you make the most money, I've done 200. I was just doing the math. It's like 300. That project was like a $300,000 launch. It was like 310 $320,000, I think, for
So
their.
should we update the webinar and, because in the webinar, it says, I think it's 200 plus $1,000 launches?
Well, I mean, that's still accurate. It's 200,000 plus.
But I mean, if it's 300,000, it's better
Yeah,
than
you need to
200,000.
do the like just double check the numbers. I wouldn't update it yet, but yeah, I think
Okay.
it's. I've also I've helped on. Oh, it's raining. Hold on a second. Apparently it's just raining today everywhere.
Really? Huh.
So, but I've also helped with like 1 day campaigns that brought in nearly $500,000. Done uh, telethon broadcasts that have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars, live in-person events that have raised over $100,000 from donors. It's it's not hard to make a lot of money in a short amount of time. And the people who are going to buy the most from you, who are going to give you the most money, are going to be the people who are already in your community. So, I mean, would you be all right if I shared how I how I learned how to build community? So
Yeah,
the
you were frozen for a second, but it seems okay.
okay, cool.
That seems
So
good.
that first story, like the secret is you don't need millions of people to grow your business or something. And so the first half of that secret section of the webinar is the story about me being on TV, being on the radio, being asked to come back in front of big audiences and never making any money. I didn't get any clients or jobs from it, and I decided I needed to learn how to tell better stories. But even getting in front of those big audiences again and again, what I realized is that if it's not your audience, you don't control your story. If you need to sell something to people, you have to be able to get your entire message out to those people. And if it's not your audience, you don't control those stories. So um, I had to learn how to uh, sell better. And um, oh, you know what? That actually should move down here. So it's oops, 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 oops. So this is really goes here. Because this is, yeah, yeah. All right. So the thing I learned from the first half is like I needed to learn how to tell better stories. And what that looked like after 10 years is I actually learned how to sell, learned how to get myself jobs, um, doing freelance work for clients, learned how to get people on the phone, tell them this is what I do, and get them to say, yeah, I want your help. Tell them this is how much I charge. And so in the process of doing work for clients, we had this client that we decided to put their 30-minute Facebook Live in front of Facebook's audience. And only 700 people watched or clicked. So what I learned from that is that if it's not your audience, you don't control your story. But here's the interesting twist. Out of 700 people, 22 people watched. And out of those 22 people that stuck around for more than 5 minutes on the stream, they all signed up. We doubled the amount of high ticket clients from the previous year for that client. And since then, I've built a business that has let me wake up to sales. And the people that were in that launch were already, they were already warm. They were already people who had some connection to the organization. The sales that I've made in my business, I'm not actively marketing that business, but I regularly get sales because we get word of mouth from that community. What I learned is that you make the most sales from your own community. If you don't own the audience, you don't control your store. But if it's the people in your own community, that's your hot mark. That's your red hot clients. People who are ready to buy from you, who want to experiment and get the outcome that they're looking for. They've already decided that they are gonna succeed and they're happy to give you the money. Um, they're open to listening to your feedback and they're optimized for what you show them and they can commit to the time that you have as a requirement for working with you. So I've been able to do 200,000, maybe 300,000 plus launches. I've helped in campaigns that have made bajillions, and gazillions of dollars. And it all boils down to community. Like, do you have a community that you control, that you have influence over? And if you guys are cool with it, I'd love to share how I learned how to build community. Maybe that's where I need to drop some cred. Is like, here's the community that I've been. Oh, I guess we did that in the introduction. It's like helped build 15,000 communities. CMX. What do you call it? CMX Hub. Oh man, it's on my list.
By the way, if you're wondering why I'm so close to the camera, it's because the sound sucks on my computer apparently, and this is the only way I can hear.
Oh, it's actually really funny. View profile. Why can I not think of what this is? Apparently I took it off of my
It might be easier if I just
Connect.
join with my phone instead. That might be easier. Hold on, let me try that. Because this
Yeah.
is really not good for the eyes. My eyes are feeling like they're gonna explode. So we're on the link for the webinar or the link, like the normal floating link?
What?
You?
Say that again?
Normal floating link or link for the webinar?
Oh, we're on the webinar link.
Okay. Good. I'm gonna join. All right. Can you please let me in?
Well, I don't see a thing from you trying to enter the room. I only see two participants, me and Guillaume Soleil. By the way, I'm probably gonna leave in.
Sorry, I just forgot that I muted myself, so I was talking and you can hear me. So yeah, I don't know why it wasn't working, so I'm joining using the one that you sent me in Messenger.
Okay. There you are.
All right, so let's hope the sound is better, and I'll just leave from my computer because this is annoying. All right, so, ooh, I think I can hear you now.
You know, I have to admit you into this Zoom room. That was a dumb joke.
I'm like, was it a joke or did I misunderstand? Like I was trying to figure it out. I mean,
Uh,
I don't think you need to specify that it's a joke because given the type of jokes that we make, it is by default a dumb joke. It's like at this point saying, "Oh, I made a dumb joke." It's like saying, "I made a joke." It's kind of like a
yeah.
what do you call that in English? What's that called again? I remember in French. I forget in English. Let me Google it. I did not know it was the thing in English, but okay. A pleonasm, apparently. Huh. First time I tried to see what that word was in English, and it sounds really weird.
Oh man.
Okay, I just got a message from the girl I was out with yesterday, and it just
Mhm.
reminded me of something that has to do with business. It's like, I mean, it's in Spanish, but I'm going to translate. So it's like, you want to come and like give me a hug, like give me many hugs, and it's like two options, yes or yes. It's like that's what we need to do in business. We need to give them an option, but both options is yes.
All right.
You know what? I don't know the analogy here, but this is just very frustrating. I've updated the stories like I did it once, updating all the categories, and it's like, all right, there's more issues. So I need to update because there's like, let's say a broken link. So I update all the stories because there's a broken link. And it's like, oh well, now you need to add navigation, even though it's a short story, and I don't need to do it, but they're like, you need to do it. It's like
Mm,
just I have to redo the same work over and over again. It's so frustrating. It's like I'm making so little money from this that it doesn't seem worth it. But if I don't do that, they could shut down my account and then I just stop making that recurring income that I've already
yeah.
worked. So it's like, it's frustrating, but I don't really have a choice.
Mm,
And I don't know, maybe that's what business feels like. That's the whole point of
yeah.
business. That's what it is. See, this is why it's taking me like 4 months to update the stories and do that work because every single time I do it, it's like, yeah, like part of them were fine, but there's still a
Mhm.
bunch of them that you need to fix.
Yeah.
And
I think.
the most ironic thing is they got purchased by another company and like within the next year or so they're gonna fuse together. And I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen when that happens. Am I gonna have to re-upload everything to the other one? Are they gonna not allow these types of stories on the other one? Like I have no clue what's gonna happen. So I could be doing all this for nothing. Yeah. Sorry, just venting. Just venting under the vent of the AC and the well fan, but ventilator works better in this case. I was trying and failing to make a joke. So same as usual. Sorry, I feel like you were being productive and I interrupted you to not be productive.
No, it's okay. My brain is shot. It's almost time for me to go. I guess. Well, I've done a third of the stories that we are telling, so I guess that's not too bad. I'm not meeting anybody tomorrow that I know, so maybe I can work on this a little bit more. Yeah, that sounds good. Well, now that I know the structure, I feel like I should put this in a spreadsheet. Whoops. All right, let me see if I can create a little story document real quick.
You
Mhm.
want to see the most awkward camera position ever?
Hmm.
Well, maybe not ever, but
Why aren't we
so I
on
was just sitting with my legs crossed and I kind of like leaned back and that was the result. And I'm like, well, that seems really awkward.
OnlyFans?
It's been a little over 2 months now, and I feel like I'm not used to working anymore.
Hmm.
I'm like, I forgot how to work. Uh, I'm having fun. You know what I miss? Making money. That'll be nice. No, but it's true. Like it's a joke, but it's also very true. Because I keep track of all the income that comes in,
Uh-huh.
and so far this year of actual income, not counting, like tax returns and other money that's coming in, but like actually earned money.
Uh-huh.
So far in 8 months, $1,146.24. So, we make 3 sales, and my cut will be more than I've made in the last 8 months.
Well, that doesn't work at all. Still doesn't look good. That's pretty ugly. Let's just do white. And actually, let's do none. And this is going to be.
Uh,
Kaboom! too much space, I think. All right. Oops.
It's funny. Things pop up in my head. I'm like, nah, he's working. I won't say that.
I don't understand how like 14-year-old girls can do this for hours on end. Being like on your elbows,
Oh.
my arms just get tired so fast. I'm like, I don't get how they can be comfortable like this.
Mhm. All right. See you later. And now.
Hopefully it was productive for you because it was a complete waste of time for me. Not kidding.